The council chamber floated in the darkness of space, orbiting a neutron star that pulsed with deadly radiation. Inside the station, beings from the galaxy's most dangerous worlds gathered around a circular table. Each one had evolved in conditions that would kill most species in seconds. They were the Deathworld Council, and they were proud of it. High Coordinator Vrextal stood at the head of the table. His massive body was built for crushing gravity, with bones like iron and muscles that could bend steel. He came from a world where the gravity was so strong that rain fell like bullets. His people had evolved to survive where others would be flattened into paste. Next to him sat Kes Prime, an ancient being whose crystalline skin glowed faintly with absorbed radiation. The Kasari evolved on a world bathed in lethal waves of energy from their binary stars. They breathed what others called poison and swam in acid seas. Kes Prime had lived for 3,000 years, and her eyes had seen empires rise and fall. Counselor Thalmora represented the deep-pressure worlds. Her species came from oceans so deep that the water itself became something else entirely. They lived where the weight of the ocean above could crush starship hulls. Her breathing apparatus hissed softly as she moved, keeping her body pressurized in the relatively thin atmosphere of the station. Around the table sat others like them, the burning ones from volcanic nightmare worlds, the ice walkers from frozen planets where the air itself turned solid, the storm children from gas giants where winds moved faster than sound. All of them were survivors. All of them were strong. "We have a new application," Vrextal announced, his voice rumbling through the chamber like thunder. He pulled up a holographic display. From a species called humanity, they wished to join the Deathworld Coalition. Interest rippled through the council. New applications were rare. Most species knew better than to try. The Deathworld Coalition was exclusive, reserved only for those who had earned their place through suffering and survival. "What is their world like?" asked one of the burning ones, flames flickering across his armored skin. Vrextal pulled up the data. His eyes scanned the information, and then he stopped. He read it again. Then he started to laugh. It was a deep, booming laugh that shook the walls. Other council members leaned forward, curious about what could cause such a reaction. Vrextal turned the display so everyone could see. "Their world," he said between laughs, "is classified as a Class 7 paradise planet." Silence fell over the chamber. Then one by one the others began to laugh too. "Paradise?" Talamora's voice was filled with disbelief. "They come from a paradise world and want to join us." Kes Prime studied the data with her ancient eyes. "Their gravity is 1 standard G, that is, just comfortable, easy. Their star is stable, providing consistent warmth. They have liquid water on the surface," and she looked up. "This is not a death world. This is a vacation resort." Vrextal pulled up more information, each detail making the situation more ridiculous. "They have a protective magnetic field that shields them from cosmic radiation. Their atmosphere is rich in oxygen, perfect for combustion-based life. They have seasons that are predictable and mild." "Do they have any natural threats at all?" asked an ice walker, genuine curiosity in his voice. "According to this," Vrextal scrolled through the data, "they have weather patterns, some storms, occasional seismic activity, the usual planetary processes but nothing extreme." The laughter grew louder. The idea of a species from such a gentle world thinking they belonged among the Deathworld Council was absurd. Insulting even. "Perhaps they are confused about what we are," Thalmora suggested. "Maybe they think this is a social club for anyone who wants to join." "Or perhaps," said a storm child, "they are arrogant. They have lived such easy lives that they think they are special." Vrextal was about to dismiss the application entirely when a communication request came through. It was a quantum link transmission, expensive and rare. Someone wanted to speak to them directly. "Accept it," Vrextal said, curious now. The hologram shifted and a human appeared before them. She was small by the standards of most species in the room, standing perhaps 2 meters tall. Her body was lean, without heavy armor or obvious adaptations. She wore a simple uniform with symbols that meant nothing to the council. "Greetings, honored council," the human said, bowing slightly. "I am Ambassador Chen Wei, representing the United Terran government. I come to formally present humanity's application to the Deathworld Coalition." "Ambassador Chen," Vrextal said, trying to keep the amusement from his voice. "We have reviewed your application. Your world is pleasant, too pleasant," added Thalmora. "This coalition is for species who have survived the unsurvivable. who have evolved in conditions that would kill almost anything else. Your world is a garden. Chen Wei's expression did not change. I understand your concern, Counselor. That is why we request the standard Deathworld trials. We wish to prove our place here, not simply claim it. This caused a stir among the council members. The Deathworld trials were brutal tests designed to measure a species' ability to survive extreme conditions. They were dangerous, often deadly, and required abilities that only true Deathworld species possessed. You understand what you are asking? Cass Prime spoke, her ancient voice carrying weight. The trials will test you against conditions similar to our homeworlds. Many who have attempted them have died. Your species from your comfortable world would not last hours. We understand, Chen Wei replied calmly, and we still request the trials. Vrextal exchanged glances with the other council members. By the laws of the coalition, they could not refuse. Any species had the right to attempt the trials, no matter how foolish that attempt might be. Very well, Vrextal said slowly. But know this, Ambassador. These trials are not games. They are not symbolic tests. If your people fail, they will die. We will not lower the standards for you. We would not want you to, Chen Wei said. There was something in her eyes, a quiet confidence that seemed out of place for someone from such an easy world. We will send our candidates whenever you are ready. One more thing, Thalmora said. Why? Why does a species from a paradise world want to join a coalition of survivors from hell planets? What could you possibly gain from this? Chen Wei was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft but clear. Because we want to be among those who understand, among those who know what it means to fight for survival, to earn your place in the universe, not have it given to you. Understanding? Vrextal's laugh was harsh. You cannot understand what you have never experienced. You cannot know struggle when you have lived in comfort. You cannot appreciate survival when death has never hunted you. Perhaps, Chen Wei said. That is what the trials will show. The transmission ended. The council chamber was quiet for a moment before the laughter started again. They will withdraw the application once they see the first trial, said a burning one. No species from a soft world could survive on Vrelnath Prime for even a day. Agreed, Vrextal said. But if they wish to embarrass themselves, that is their choice. Prepare the trials. Set them at maximum difficulty. Let us show the galaxy what happens when paradise dwellers pretend to be warriors. The council agreed. They would grant the trials, but they would make an example of humanity. Other species needed to know that the Deathworld Coalition was not for everyone. It was for the strong, the adapted, the survivors. They had no idea what was coming. Earth had kept its secrets well. The database showed a beautiful world of blue oceans and green continents. It showed comfortable temperatures and gentle rains. It showed a planet that looked like peace itself. What it did not show was the truth. What it did not reveal was what that beautiful world had created. The council would learn soon enough. They would learn that paradise was a matter of perspective. They would learn that Earth had its own ways of making monsters. And they would learn never to underestimate humanity again. 3 days after the transmission, the council met again to review Earth's complete profile. They had requested detailed data about the planet and its dominant species. What they received only confirmed their initial assessment. Vrextal pulled up the planetary scan on the main display. Earth rotated slowly in holographic form, blue and white and green. It looked like something from a dream. Look at this, he said, his voice dripping with mockery. A perfect orbit. Not too close to their star, not too far. Just right. The Goldilocks zone, Cass Prime read from the data. That is what their scientists call it. A zone where conditions are just right for life. She made a sound that might have been laughter. How precious. Thalmora brought up comparison data. On one side of the display was Earth. On the other, the homeworlds of the council members appeared one by one. Vrelnath Prime, gravity 4.2 times Earth standard, atmosphere composition 70% sulfur dioxide, average surface temperature 300 degrees, volcanic activity constant. The planet was a nightmare of crushing weight and burning air. Next came Kassar, binary star system with radiation levels that would sterilize most worlds. The surface was bombarded constantly with deadly waves of energy. The oceans were acid. The rocks themselves were radioactive. Then Thalmora's home, a water world where the ocean was 800 kilometers deep. The pressure at those depths was beyond imagination. The water itself became something different, something that could burn and cut. Compare that to this, Vrextal said, highlighting Earth's data. 1 standard gravity, breathable atmosphere, liquid water at comfortable pressures, a stable star that does not try to kill everything near it. They even have a moon, one of the ice walkers said, sounding amazed. A large one that stabilizes their planet's rotation. It gives them regular tides, predictable seasons. Their world takes care of them like a mother. More data scrolled past. Earth's magnetic field was strong and protective, deflecting solar radiation. The atmosphere was thick enough to burn up most meteors before they reached the surface. The planet had weather systems that distributed heat and water efficiently across the surface. This is not a death world, Thalmora said firmly. This is a garden, a protected, stable, comfortable garden. Perhaps they are simply weak, suggested a burning one. Perhaps their easy world made them soft, and now they want to prove something. To feel strong. Kes Prime had been quiet, studying the biological data. Now she spoke, her ancient voice cutting through the conversation. I have reviewed their evolutionary history. There is no evidence of extreme adaptation, no survival of catastrophic events, no species-wide modifications to deal with environmental stress. She pulled up images of humans. They were bipedal, soft-skinned, without natural armor or weapons. Their bodies were symmetrical and relatively fragile. They have no scales to protect against heat, no thick skin to resist radiation, no redundant organs for survival. They are basic. What about their technology? Someone asked. Advanced for their age, Kes Prime admitted. But that is common among species from easy worlds. When you do not spend all your resources just surviving, you have time to develop science. Vrextal pulled up more Earth data. Let us see what challenges they claim to face. Perhaps there is something we missed. The list appeared. The council members read it in silence. Then the laughter started again, even louder than before. Hurricanes. Vrextal roared with amusement. They list hurricanes as a natural disaster, wind and rain. We have storms on Vrelnath Prime that would tear apart starships, said another. Their hurricanes are light breezes compared to that. Earthquakes, Thalmora read. Their ground shakes sometimes. How terrifying. The sarcasm was thick in her voice. On my world, the pressure creates seismic events that reshape continents. These earthquakes they fear are nothing. Volcanic eruptions, a burning one said, shaking his head. I was born in a volcano. We build our cities in them. And they think this is a threat? Kes Prime highlighted another section. They have something called wildfires, areas where plants burn during dry seasons. They treat this as a disaster. Do they fight the fires? Asked a storm child. Sometimes they do, Kes Prime said, reading the data. Sometimes they let them burn and rebuild afterward. They have systems for evacuating, for protecting structures, for rescue. So they run away from fire, Vrextal said. How brave. More laughter filled the chamber. The council was enjoying this now, finding humor in each new detail about humanity's supposedly difficult world. What about their biology? Thalmora asked. Do they face any biological threats? Kes Prime pulled up the medical data. They have diseases, bacteria and viruses that can cause illness. They have developed medicine to fight these threats. Medicine, Vrextal repeated. We evolved immunity. They make medicine. To be fair, Kes Prime said, their immune systems are not completely useless. They can fight off many infections naturally. But compared to true Deathworld species, they are vulnerable. The council reviewed predator data next. Earth had animals that hunted other animals, but they were small by galactic standards. The largest land predators were things called bears and big cats. The most dangerous ocean predators were sharks and orcas. None of these could threaten a human settlement, Thalmora observed. They are individual threats at best. And humans hunt them, Kes Prime added. For sport in some cases. They have eliminated or controlled most dangerous animals on their world. Of course they have, Rextal said. In a paradise world, even the predators are manageable. The Ice Walker brought up climate data. I see they had something called ice ages in their past, periods where their world became colder. But these happened slowly, over thousands of years. Plenty of time to migrate and adapt. On my world, the Ice Walker continued, the temperature can drop 100 degrees in a single day when we move into our planet's shadow. We adapted to survive instant freezing. They had millennia to move toward the equator. The council continued for hours, picking apart every aspect of Earth's data. Everything they found confirmed the same conclusion. Earth was comfortable, safe, easy. I believe we should refuse their application, Talamora said finally. Not because they do not have the right to try, but because this is embarrassing, for them and for us. Agreed, said several others. But Vrextal was watching something on a side display, Ambassador Chen's transmission recording. He played it again, studying her face, her voice, her complete lack of fear. No, he said slowly, we grant the trials. Why? Talamora asked. They will fail. They will die. What purpose does that serve? Because she was too confident, Vrextal said. Did you see her? She did not beg. Did not try to convince us. She simply asked for the trials and waited. Kes Prime's ancient eyes focused on the recording. You think she knows something we do not? No, Vrextal said. I think she is foolish and arrogant, like all species from easy worlds. But I want to watch them fail. I want them to understand their place. And I want the galaxy to see what happens when paradise dwellers pretend to be survivors. He stood, his massive frame dominating the room. We will grant the trials, all three of them. No mercy, no adjusted difficulty, full standards. If they want to join the Deathworld Council, they can prove it the same way we all did. And when they fail? Asked Dalmora. Then they crawl back to their garden world and never bother us again, Brextal said. And every other comfortable species in the galaxy will know better than to waste our time. The council voted. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would get their trials. Messages were sent to Earth outlining the 3 tests they would face. First, survival on Vrelnath Prime for 72 hours. Second, combat assessment against automated drones. Third, if they somehow survived both, the crucible of Krel. No species from a non-death world had ever passed even the first trial. The council expected humanity to withdraw their application immediately. Any rational species would look at what they had to face and realize the truth. But 3 hours after, the message was sent, a reply came back from Ambassador Chen. It was only 2 words. We accept. Vrextal stared at those words for a long time. Then he smiled, cold and anticipating. Excellent. Prepare Vrelnath Prime. In 1 week, we will show these paradise dwellers what real survival means. Around the table, council members prepared for the entertainment. They would all watch the trials together. It would be amusing to see how long the soft humans lasted. They set up viewing screens and wagered on different outcomes. Some thought the humans would surrender before setting foot on Vrelnath Prime. Others believed they might last a few hours before the environment killed them. None of them, not even ancient Kes Prime with her thousands of years of experience, predicted what was actually about to happen. Earth had kept its secrets. The galaxy was about to learn why. The viewing chamber was full. Every council member had gathered to watch the humans fail. They had food, drinks, and comfortable seating arranged around the massive holographic displays. The atmosphere was festive. How long do you think they will last? Asked a burning one, settling into his heated seat. I give them 2 hours, Talmora said. Maybe less. The gravity alone will crush them. I think they will quit before they even land, another member said. Once they see Vrelnath Prime up close, they will understand their mistake. Vrextal stood at the center watching the displays with interest. The human transport ship was approaching his homeworld now. The planet filled the screen, a roiling nightmare of orange clouds, volcanic eruptions visible even from orbit, sulfuric storms that spanned entire continents. They are preparing to deploy, Kes Prime announced, monitoring the sensor data. The council watched as 12 figures emerged from the transport ship in drop pods. The pods were standard design, nothing special. The humans inside wore environmental suits, but again, nothing unusual. Just basic protection gear. The pods entered, the atmosphere of Relnath Prime, trailing flames as they descended through the violent air. The turbulence was extreme. Several council members watched with anticipation, waiting for a pod to fail, to spin out of control. All 12 pods landed successfully. Phase 1 complete, Rextal narrated. They are on the surface. The gravity is now 4.2 times what they are used to. The atmospheric pressure is crushing. The temperature is over 300 degrees. The air is poison. Let us see how long they survive. The pods opened. The humans stepped out, and immediately, something was wrong. Rextal frowned. The humans were moving. Not quickly, but they were moving. Under gravity that should have pinned them to the ground, they walked. Slowly, carefully, but they walked. Interesting, Kes Prime said, leaning forward. They are still functional. Give it time, Talamora said. The gravity will exhaust them soon. They cannot maintain that effort for long. But the humans did not stop. They began working immediately, pulling equipment from the pods. One of them fell to one knee under the weight, but 2 others helped him up. They moved together, coordinating without words, their suits apparently equipped with communication systems. What are they doing? An ice walker asked. One of the humans was setting up some kind of portable shelter. Another was unpacking filtration equipment. A third was taking readings with scientific instruments. They are establishing a base camp, Rextal said slowly. That is unexpected. Within an hour, the humans had constructed a basic shelter using their equipment. It was not elegant, but it was functional. The shelter protected them from the worst of the atmospheric conditions. The filtration system began processing the air, creating a small bubble of breathable atmosphere inside. Clever, Kes Prime admitted, but this only delays the inevitable. They cannot stay in there for 72 hours. They will need to emerge, to move, to complete the trial objectives. The trial rules were simple. Survive for 72 hours and reach 3 designated checkpoints across the planet's surface. The checkpoints were each 50 kilometers apart, across terrible terrain. The humans rested for 2 hours. Then they began to move. They had divided into 3 teams of 4. Each team took a different checkpoint. They moved slowly under the crushing gravity, but they moved. Their suits kept them alive, but the suits could not fight the gravity for them. Every step required effort. Every movement was a battle. They will collapse soon, Rextal said, but his voice had lost some of its certainty. 3 hours passed. The humans were still moving. How? Talamora asked, genuine confusion in her voice. How are they doing this? One of the displays was focused on a specific human, a woman whose suit identified her as Dr. Sarah Okonkwo. She was talking, her suit recording her voice for the mission log. This reminds me of deep-sea diving back home, she was saying, her breathing heavy but controlled. Similar principle. Heavy pressure, hostile environment, limited air. You pace yourself. You focus on breathing, 1 step at a time. Deep-sea diving? A storm child asked. What is that? Kes Prime pulled up the data. It appears humans explore the deep parts of their oceans, for recreation, for science, for resources. But their ocean is not deep, Thalmora said, not compared to real deep-water worlds. Deep enough to be dangerous, Kes Prime said, reading more. The pressure can kill them. The cold can kill them. Yet they go down anyway. On another screen, a human man was talking. Gravity is rough, like wearing a full pack on a mountain climb, like Everest maybe. But we trained for this. We can do this. Everest? Vrextal pulled up the data. A mountain on Earth, 8,000 meters high, the air at the top is too thin to breathe. Humans climb it anyway. Why? Someone asked. Because it is there, Kes Prime read from the file. That is what one human said when asked why they climb mountains. 6 hours passed. The humans reached the first checkpoint. All 12 of them. Not one had fallen behind. Not one had quit. The council chamber was quiet now. The festive atmosphere had faded. They were watching the screens with full attention. They should be exhausted, Rextal said. The gravity should have broken their bodies by now. Look at their vital signs, Kes Prime said, pulling up medical data. Their heart rates are elevated. Their muscles are under extreme stress. But they are managing it. They are enduring. Dr. Okonkwo was talking again, documenting the local geology while she walked. The volcanic activity here is constant. It reminds me of Iceland, but more intense. The sulfur content in the air would be instantly lethal without the suit. It is similar to conditions near deep-sea hydrothermal vents. She paused to take a reading. You know what is funny? We have places on Earth with conditions similar to this. Not as extreme, but similar. Sulfur springs, volcanic areas, high-gravity training in centrifuges. We knew what to expect. We knew how to prepare. Thalmora looked at Vrextal. Is this true? Do they have places on their paradise world that resemble Deathworlds? Vrextal was searching through Earth's database frantically. There are volcanic regions, geothermal areas, deep ocean trenches, deserts, frozen poles. But these are small areas, isolated regions, not the whole planet. But humans visit these places, Kes Prime said. They study them. Some even live near them. They have experience with extreme environments, even if their world overall is comfortable. 12 hours passed. The humans were halfway to the second checkpoint. They had stopped to rest inside portable shelters, but they were still alive, still functional. One of the humans, identified as Marcus Chen, was doing something strange. He had removed his helmet briefly inside the shelter to eat. The council zoomed in on his face. He looks tired, Talamora said. But not defeated, not broken. Marcus was talking to his teammate. You know, my grandfather worked at Chernobyl after the disaster. High radiation killed a lot of people, but some survived, some even thrived. My grandmother always said our family had thick blood. Chernobyl? Kes Prime searched the database. A nuclear accident on Earth. Massive radiation release. It should have made the area uninhabitable. It did, Vrextal read. For humans. But look at this. Life returned. Plants, animals. Within years. Earth's life is resilient. And humans went back too, Kes Prime continued. To clean up, to study, to understand. They exposed themselves to radiation to fix their mistake. The Ice Walker spoke up. I am beginning to think we misunderstood something important about Earth. 24 hours passed. The humans reached the second checkpoint. They rested again, but they were in good spirits. One of them was making jokes over the communication channel. Another was singing something while they worked. They are singing, Vrextal said, disbelief in his voice. In the middle of a survival trial on my homeworld, they are singing. The song was something called a marching cadence, apparently used by human military forces to maintain rhythm during long movements. It was simple and repetitive, but it seemed to keep their spirits up. 36 hours. The humans were approaching the third checkpoint. Their pace had slowed, but they had not stopped. Several had injuries now, visible on the medical scanners. Muscle strains, stress fractures from the gravity, minor suit breaches that had been patched, but they continued. Dr. Okonkwo was still recording. We are tired, very tired, but we knew it would be like this. Humans have always been endurance specialists. We are not the strongest, not the fastest, but we can keep going. We can outlast. She paused to help a teammate who had stumbled. Our ancestors hunted prey by following it for days, not by being faster, by being more persistent. The prey would run, we would follow. It would rest. We would keep coming. Eventually it would collapse from exhaustion. Then we would eat. Thalmora looked at the others. Is she saying they hunted by exhausting their prey? By simply not stopping? Persistence hunting, Kes Prime read. A human technique. They would track animals across vast distances, sometimes for days, until the animal was too tired to run. Then they would kill it with simple weapons. That is. Vrextal searched for words. That is terrifying. 48 hours. The humans reached the third checkpoint, all 12 of them. They still had 24 hours to get back to the extraction point, but they had completed the mandatory objectives. The council watched in silence as the humans set up camp and rested. They were exhausted, clearly sick. The 3 days between trials were not restful for the council. Vrextal had ordered a comprehensive review of all Earth data. Every file, every detail, everything humanity had submitted in their application. Thalmora was conducting the deep analysis. She worked alone in her chamber, her mind processing information at speeds most species could not match. She started with the basics and worked her way deeper into Earth's history. The combat assessment was scheduled to begin in 1 hour. The council gathered again in the viewing chamber, but the atmosphere was different now. There was no celebration, no betting. They watched the preparations in tense silence. The combat trial was straightforward. Humans would face automated drones designed to test combat reflexes, tactical thinking, and threat response. The drones were programmed to simulate various alien combat styles. They could fight at range or close quarters. They were fast, intelligent, and lethal. These drones have defeated trained warriors from a dozen species, Vrextal reminded everyone. They learn and adapt. They do not tire. They do not feel fear. The same 12 humans stood ready in the combat arena, a massive facility built into an asteroid. They wore lighter armor now with weapons provided by the council. Standard energy rifles, basic blades, and defensive shields. Begin, Vrextal commanded. The first wave of drones activated. 10 units, humanoid in shape, moving with mechanical precision. They spread out in a standard attack formation. The humans did not wait. They moved immediately, not as individuals, but as a coordinated unit. They formed a defensive circle, weapons raised, each human covering a specific field of fire. The drones attacked. The humans responded with surprising efficiency. They did not panic. They did not scatter. They called out to each other, coordinating fire, creating overlapping fields of coverage. The first drone fell within seconds. Then another. The humans rotated positions smoothly, replacing tired shooters with fresh ones, maintaining constant pressure. They fight as a unit, Kes Prime observed. True pack coordination. Many species fight in groups, Vrextal countered. But he was watching closely. There was something different about how the humans moved. Something practiced, natural. The second wave came. 20 drones, more aggressive tactics. They tried to flank the humans, to separate them. The humans split into 3 teams immediately, each team moving to cover a different approach. They used the terrain, taking cover behind obstacles, creating kill zones where the drones had to expose themselves. They are adapting faster than the drones, Thalmora said, surprise in her voice. The drones are learning, but the humans are learning faster. One human, Marcus Chen, threw his weapon to a teammate who had run out of charge, then drew a blade and engaged a drone in close combat. He moved with fluid precision, not trying to overpower the machine but redirecting its attacks, using its momentum against it. That is a combat art, a Stormchild said. Trained skill, not instinct. How long do humans train for combat? Vrextal asked. Kes Prime pulled up the data. It varies. Military training is months to years, but many humans study combat arts for recreation, for discipline. Some of their martial traditions are thousands of years old. For recreation, Vrextal repeated. They fight for fun? On screen, Dr. Okonkwo was speaking between engagements. Pattern recognition is key. The drones telegraph their moves. Watch the shoulder joints. They commit to an attack vector 0.3 seconds before executing. That is your opening, she was teaching. In the middle of combat, she was analyzing and teaching her teammates. The third wave came. 30 drones with mixed tactics. The humans were showing fatigue now, but they continued. One human went down with a damaged leg. 2 others pulled him to cover and treated his injury, while the rest maintained the defensive line. They do not leave their wounded, Kes Prime said quietly. even when it would be tactically advantageous to abandon them. That is inefficient, Vrextal said. Perhaps, Kes Prime replied. Or perhaps that is why they fight so effectively. They know their unit will not abandon them. It removes fear, creates trust. The combat assessment continued for 2 more hours, wave after wave of drones. The humans adapted to each new challenge, developed new tactics, and supported each other throughout. When it finally ended, all 12 humans were still standing. Several were injured, but none were dead. They had defeated 87 combat drones. The previous record was 43. The council stared at the results in shock. This is not possible, Vrextal said. They are from a paradise world. Where did they learn to fight like this? That is what I have been researching, Thalmora said. Her voice was strange, shaken. And I have found something terrible. She activated a new display, pushing aside the combat footage. Earth appeared, but now with additional layers of data overlaid on it. Historical data, geological data, biological data. I thought Earth was a paradise, Thalmora began. The data showed a comfortable world, but I was looking at the surface. I did not look at the history. I did not look at what that world had survived. She highlighted Earth's timeline. 5 mass extinction events, 5 times when most life on Earth died. Asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions that lasted for thousands of years. Climate shifts that turned the planet into ice. And life came back every time. Stronger, more diverse. Vrextal leaned forward. Extinction events are not uncommon. 5 is uncommon, Thalmora said. And the diversity that followed each one is unprecedented. Earth did not just survive these events, it used them. Life became more complex, more aggressive, more competitive. She pulled up new images. Earth's biosphere. The sheer number of species made the council members gasp. Earth has more biodiversity than any planet in our database, Thalmora continued. More species competing for resources. More predators, more prey, more everything. The evolutionary pressure on Earth is constant and intense. Kes Prime studied the data with her ancient eyes. This is unusual for a stable world. Because Earth is not stable, Thalmora said. It looks stable now. But its history is violence. Its climate swings between extremes. Its continents move and collide. Its volcanoes erupt. Its weather systems generate storms that would qualify as natural disasters on most worlds. She zoomed in on specific regions. Their poles freeze solid and then melt. Their deserts can reach temperatures that would kill most species. Their jungles are so dense with life that competition for survival is constant. And humans evolved to live in all of these environments. Impossible, Vrextal said. No single species can adapt to such varied conditions. Humans did not adapt, Thalmora said. Not biologically. They adapted mentally. They learned to create tools, to build shelters, to make clothing, to use fire. They did not change their bodies to fit the environment. They changed the environment to fit their bodies. New images appeared, human tools throughout history, from simple stones to complex machines. And then there are the predators, Thalmora said, her voice dropping. Earth's predator density is beyond normal parameters. Look at this. Images of Earth's predators filled the screen. Lions, tigers, bears, crocodiles, sharks, eagles, wolves, snakes, spiders, scorpions. These are apex predators, Thalmora said. Each one is lethal. Each one is specialized. And humans shared the planet with all of them. But humans are not the strongest species on their world, a burning one said. No, Thalmora agreed. They are not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most venomous, but they are still the apex predator. Do you know why? She pulled up a video of humans hunting. Persistence hunting, like Dr. Okonkwo had described. A human following an animal for hours, days, never stopping. The animal finally collapsed from exhaustion. The human walked up and killed it with a simple spear. They hunted everything, Thalmora said. Animals larger than them, faster than them, stronger than them. They hunted by not giving up, by being smart, by working together. More images. Humans hunting in packs, using tools, using strategy. And then there are the things they cannot see, Thalmora continued. She pulled up microscopic images. Bacteria, viruses, parasites. Earth's microscopic life is engaged in constant warfare, she explained. Diseases that can kill in days. Infections that spread through populations. Parasites that control their host's behavior. And humans survived all of it. How? Kes Prime asked. Their immune system, Thalmora said. It is not the strongest in the galaxy. But it is aggressive, adaptive, always learning. Every human is fighting a war inside their body every moment of their lives. Against bacteria, viruses, parasites. They do not even notice it because it is so constant. The council was silent, absorbing this information. There is more, Thalmora said. Their atmosphere. We thought it was comfortable. It is, for them, because they evolved to breathe it. But do you know what oxygen is? A common element, Vrextal said. It is corrosive, Thalmora corrected. Highly reactive. Earth's atmosphere is 21% oxygen. That is a concentration that would be toxic to many species. Oxygen is fuel. Earth's air can literally catch fire, and humans need it to survive. She pulled up more data. Humans are adapted to survive on a world that tried everything to kill them. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Ice ages, heat waves, droughts, floods, earthquakes, volcanoes. The crucible of Krel hung in high orbit around the neutron star, a station built specifically to test the limits of survival. No species had ever designed a more brutal challenge. The station existed in conditions that should not allow any life at all. The council gathered one final time. This viewing was different. They were not here to watch humans fail anymore. They were here to witness something they did not fully understand. Vrextal stood before the main display, his expression grave. The crucible represents everything our species have overcome. Extreme radiation from the neutron star, gravity fluctuations as we orbit, electromagnetic chaos that disrupts most technology. The station itself is barely holding together. Reaching the data core at its center requires navigating through all of these hazards. He looked at the other council members. Each of our species can attempt this trial using specialized shielding and equipment from our homeworlds. We have evolved specific protections. The humans have not. They go with standard equipment only. Should we offer them specialized gear? Thalmora asked. No, Kes Prime said. That would invalidate the trial. They must face it as they are or not at all. Ambassador Chen appeared on the communication screen. We are ready to begin. Ambassador, Vrextal said slowly. You understand what you are facing? This is beyond the previous trials. The radiation alone will kill you in minutes without proper shielding. The gravity fluctuations can tear a body apart. The electromagnetic pulses will destroy most electronics. We understand, Chen said. Her voice was calm. Always calm. Why? Vrextal asked suddenly. Why is this so important to you? You have already proven you are more than we thought. You do not need to risk your lives further. Chen was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her words were measured. Because we need allies who understand. The galaxy is full of species from comfortable worlds. They see humans and think we are like them. Soft, inexperienced. They do not understand where we come from or what we have survived. But you do. Deathworld species understand struggle. You understand what it means to earn your place. We want to stand among those who understand. Vrextal nodded slowly. Then proceed. And may your world's strength be with you. The human team moved to the entry port. There were 6 of them this time, not 12. The crucible did not require numbers. It required skill and endurance. Dr. Sarah Okonkwo was there. Marcus Chen. 4 others whose names the council had learned over the past weeks. They entered the station together. Immediately, the radiation alarm sounded. The neutron star's output was bathing the station in deadly energy. The council watched the humans' radiation badges. They were already turning color, indicating exposure. They will be dead in 10 minutes, Thalmora said quietly. But the humans kept moving. They navigated the first corridor quickly, their movements efficient. They had studied the station layout, memorized it. The radiation is elevated, Dr. Okonkwo said calmly into her recorder. Similar to working near a reactor. We trained for this. Short exposure, quick movement, minimized time in hot zones. Trained for working near reactors? Kes Prime pulled up the data. Humans work with radioactive materials regularly. For power, for medicine, for research. They choose to expose themselves to radiation, a burning one said, disbelief in his voice. With protection, Kes Prime said. But yes, they understand radiation. They respect it but do not fear it. The humans reached the first junction. Here the gravity fluctuated wildly as the station's orbit shifted. One moment normal, the next crushing, then nearly weightless. Marcus Chen moved first. He timed the fluctuations, watching the gravity meter. When it dropped, he launched himself forward. When it spiked, he grabbed a handhold and held tight. The others followed his lead. They are treating it like a rhythm, Thalmora observed. Like a pattern to be learned. That is how humans think, Kes Prime said. Everything is a puzzle to be solved. A pattern to be understood. 30 minutes in, the humans had covered half the distance to the core. They were moving faster than any previous attempt. But the radiation exposure was severe. Their badges were deep red now. They should be feeling the effects, Rextal said. Nausea, weakness, disorientation. On screen, one of the humans stumbled. Marcus caught her, steadied her. Stay with me, Keiko, we are halfway. You can do this, I know, Keiko replied. Her voice was strained but determined. Just need a moment. They rested briefly in a shielded alcove. The radiation dropped to survivable levels. Dr. Okonkwo was checking everyone's exposure. We are all in the red, she said matter-of-factly. We need to move faster. Minimize additional exposure. Will they survive the exposure? An Ice Walker asked the council. Unknown, Kes Prime said. Humans can survive significant radiation exposure. Their cells have repair mechanisms, but this is beyond normal levels. Then why do they continue? Frextal asked. Because they said they would, Thalmora answered. Because they do not quit. The humans entered the electromagnetic storm section. Here, the neutron star's magnetic field created chaos. Electrical discharges arced through the air. Most electronics failed immediately. The human suits flickered. Some systems went offline. Communication became spotty. But they kept moving. We trained for equipment failure, Marcus said, his voice cutting through static. Navy taught me that. Systems fail. Backup plans fail. Then you rely on basics, on yourself and your team. They were navigating by memorized maps now. By counting steps. By dead reckoning. Ancient skills from before technology. Remarkable, Kes Prime said. They prepared for every contingency, even the loss of their equipment. 1 hour in, the humans reached the core chamber. The data core sat in the center, surrounded by a maelstrom of radiation and electromagnetic energy. It was a test not just of reaching it, but of being able to function in the most hostile environment imaginable while retrieving it. Dr. Okonkwo moved first. She crossed the chamber in short bursts, timing her movements between the worst pulses. Her suit was barely functioning now. She reached the core and began the extraction procedure. Her hands were shaking. From radiation poisoning, from exhaustion, from fear perhaps, but they did not stop. Come on, she whispered. Come on. The data core released. She grabbed it and turned back. The others formed a relay, passing the core person to person, getting it to safety faster than one person could move alone. Keiko collapsed halfway through. Too much radiation. Too much strain. Marcus grabbed the core from her hands and kept moving. Dr. Okonkwo went back for Keiko, lifting her in the reduced gravity, carrying her. Leave me, Keiko said weakly. Not happening, Dr. Okonkwo replied. We all go home. The council watched in silence as the humans extracted themselves from the core chamber. They moved slower now. Their suits were failing. Their bodies were failing, but they did not stop. This is madness, Rextal said. They should surrender. Save themselves. They cannot, Kes Prime said. It is not in them to quit. Did you not see? This is what Earth made, beings who would rather die than give up. The humans reached the exit. The data core was secure. All 6 were alive, though Keiko needed to be carried. They staggered into the medical bay where the extraction team waited. The council's doctors immediately began treatment. Radiation therapy, cellular repair, emergency procedures. Will they survive? Frextal asked the medical chief. Yes, the doctor replied. They will be very sick for a while. The radiation exposure was severe, but they will survive. Humans have robust cellular repair mechanisms, better than expected. Because they evolved on a world with radiation, Thalmora said quietly. Not as much as our worlds, but enough. From their sun, from their soil, from cosmic rays. They built resistance over millions of years. The council waited for 3 hours while the humans recovered. Finally, they were stable enough to communicate. Ambassador Chen appeared, this time in the medical bay. She looked tired but satisfied. Counselors, we have completed the 3rd trial. Frextal stood. You have indeed. All 3 trials passed. The first species from a non-death world to do so. With respect, Coordinator, Chen said gently. We are from a death world. You just did not recognize it. We know that now, Brixtal admitted. Counselor Thalmora explained it to us. Earth is not what it appears. No world is, Chen said. You judged Earth by its surface, by its comfort. But you did not look at what that comfort cost, what we had to overcome to make our world comfortable, the predators we had to outsmart, the diseases we had to survive, the climate changes we had to endure, the competitions with each other that shaped our intelligence. She paused, choosing her words. You evolved to survive your environments. You became strong, tough, resistant. We evolved differently. We became adaptable, clever, persistent. Earth did not give us scales or radiation immunity. It gave us stubbornness, the absolute refusal to give up. Thalmora spoke. We mocked your paradise. We did not realize it was a beautiful graveyard, that everything on your world was built on the bones of what came before. Every garden grows from bones, Chen said. That is what makes it fertile. Cass Prime rose from her seat, her ancient body moving with ceremony. Ambassador Chen, I wish to formally apologize. We were wrong. About Earth, about humanity. We saw weakness where there was strength. We saw comfort where there was victory. We thought you came from paradise. We did not realize you created it.